Hi friends, இன்னைக்கு நம்ம இந்த வீடியோல வந்து MSYS 14 அதாவது ரிசர்ச் மெத்தட்ஸ் அண்ட் அப்ளைட் ஸ்டாட்டிஸ்டிக்ஸ் இந்த இதை பார்க்க போறோம் நம்ம. ஸோ ஆல்ரெடி வந்து ஃபர்ஸ்ட் 2 யூனிட்ஸ் நம்ம பார்த்துட்டோம். இன்னைக்கு வந்து தேர்ட் யூனிட் நம்ம பார்க்க போறோம் இப்போ. ஸோ தேர்ட் யூனிட் என்ன அப்படின்னா ரிசர்ச் ப்ராப்ளம்ஸ் அண்ட் ரிவ்யூஸ் இதை பற்றினது தான். இந்த டாப்பிக்ல நம்ம என்னென்ன பார்க்க போறோம் அப்படின்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா டெஃபினிஷன் ஆஃப் ரிசர்ச் ப்ராப்ளமுடைய நேச்சரை பற்றி பார்க்க போகிறோம். அதே போல் காம்போனன்ட்ஸு, சோர்சஸ்ஸு, அப்புறம் ஒரு நல்ல ரிசர்ச் ப்ராப்ளமை நம்ம எப்படி வந்து அதுக்கு என்னென்ன க்ரைட்டீரியாலாம் வந்து மீட் பண்ணணும், அதுக்கப்புறம் டெக்னிக்ஸ் இன்வால்வ்டு, லிட்ரேச்சர் ரிவ்யூ அதை எப்படி பண்ணலாம் நம்ம, அதே போல் லிட்ரேச்சர் நம்ம எப்படிலாம் நம்ம சர்ச் பண்ணலாம் அப்படிங்கிறது தான் நம்ம வந்து இந்த சாப்டரை நம்ம பார்க்க போகிறோம். ஓகேவா? ஸோ இப்போ இதில் என்ன சொல்கிறாங்க அப்படின்னா நம்ம ஹியூமன்ஸ் வந்து நம்ம எப்பயுமே வந்து ஹியூமன் பீயிங்ஸ் நம்ம எப்பயுமே வந்து நம்ம வந்து we go in need of knowledge. So as human beings we always try to seek knowledge or we want to gain knowledge. So as we go through the process we want to gain knowledge. So we go in search of things. இன்னும் சொல்ல போனா we go in search of things, and once we search we again do a research. That is what is called as research. Okay, we again keep on searching again and again. That is why we say that to gain knowledge we use research as a method. ஸோ அறிவை வந்து நம்ம வளர்த்துக்கிறதுக்கு நம்ம யூஸ் பண்ணுறது என்ன அப்படின்னா அது ஆராய்ச்சி அப்படிங்கிறது தான். அதுதான் நம்மளுடைய ரிசர்ச் அப்படின்றது. ஸோ இப்போ இதில் வந்து பார்த்தீங்க அப்படின்னா இந்த லெசன் வந்து நமக்கு ஃபஸ்ட்டு நம்ம பார்க்க போகிறது டெஃபினிஷன் ஆஃப் ரிசர்ச். நான் சொன்ன மாதிரி ரிசர்ச். ஸோ வாட் இஸ் த டெஃபினிஷன் ஆஃப் ரிசர்ச்? ரிசர்ச் மீன்ஸ் சர்ச்சிங் அகெயின் அண்ட் அகெயின், மறுபடியும் தேடுறது. அதுதான் ரீசர்ச் அப்படின்னு நான் சொல்லுது. உங்களுக்கு ஃபர்ஸ்ட் 2 வீடியோஸ்லையுமே அதை சொல்லியிருப்பேன் நான். ரீசர்ச் அப்படின்னா சர்ச்சிங் அகெயின் அண்ட் அகெயின் till we get a solution to the problem. And once we get a solution problem we are able to add new knowledge. So here we are given 4 definitions in our textbook. So the 4 definitions alone we'll see. So Grinnell, Lundberg, Burns and Kerlinger. So Grinnell என்ன சொல்லியிருக்காரு அப்படின்னா he defined research as careful, systematic, patient study and investigation. So you must do it carefully. It must be done in a systematic manner. Systematic is a word which will come in all the definition. Okay, and then it should be a patient study. We can't hurry up. If you want to do a research you cannot hurry up, you have to wait patiently. And then some investigation is being done in some field of knowledge. So this is what is about what Brennan said. And then now getting into Lundberg said that research is a scientific method of systematic observation, clarification and interpretation. Okay, clarification and interpretation. Burns said that again systematic investigation to find the answers to a problem. So Burns wanted to find an answer. Lundberg said that it is observation, clarification and interpretation. And Kerlinger said that it's systematic, controlled, empirical, critical investigation. Okay, controlled, empirical, critical investigation of propositions. So these are all the definitions. At least you need to learn 2 definitions. These 2 definitions are little easy to learn. The definition by Lundberg and Burns, this is also easy. So at least these 3 we can learn. It will be easy for us. Next, research problem nature. So what is the nature of a research problem? So the first thing which we need to remember is that we have to select the problem. So why do we do a research? When we need to when we identify some problem and we are in search of a solution. Okay, so first we have to select and define the research problem. That is what is the first procedure, selecting and defining the research problem. So once we do that, why we do is we must find the problem and then you must be able to formulate it. Only then we will be able to find out. And research you can very well easily relate it to a medical doctor. ஒரு டாக்டரோட ஈஸியாக கம்பேர் பண்ணலாம். எப்படின்னா researcher வந்து what will a researcher do? A researcher has to examine all the symptoms. So whatever is going on, he has to examine. Likewise a medical doctor. So what will a medical doctor do? Once a patient is going to come, the medical doctor will analyze the symptoms of the particular patient, and then only the doctor will be able to diagnose. Similarly only a researcher should be able to understand the problem and should be able to define. So whatever problem is being said, that symptoms have to be analyzed, right? So that is what you have defined, and then only you will be able to get a solution. Okay, that is what a researcher is going to do. So a researcher, a good research must begin with a good research question. So first a good question should come. When you go to the doctor will first ask you a question. என்ன பண்ணது உங்களுக்கு? What is happening to you? Likewise, if you want to do a good research, then there should be a good research question in the first place. Okay, so that is what is about this. The next one is components. There are 5 components in a research problem. Okay, what are the 5 components? The first thing is that if you want to do a research, you have a problem, right? That is why you are doing a research. So who should have the problem? There should be a person, that is an individual or a group, who is having some difficulty. If you imagine that there is a problem and if you are not able to find a group who is actually facing that problem, then there is no point in doing the research. That is the basic fundamental thing. The first component, you should find an individual or a group who has some difficulty for the problem. Okay, and the next one is they should have some objectives. We should have some goals. If no one wants nothing, then there is no problem. Why do they have a problem? Because they want something and they are not able to get that particular thing. Then they say that there is a problem. எனக்கு ஒன்று வேணும், ஆனால் வந்து எனக்கு அது கிடைக்கல. அப்போ எனக்கு என்ன வேணும்ன்றது இருக்கு பார்த்தீங்களா, அதுதான் அப்ஜெக்ட். என்னுடைய குறிக்கோள் என்ன? எனக்கு இது வேணும் ஆனால் எனக்கு இது கிடைக்கல. அப்போ அது ஏன் கிடைக்கல நான் கண்டுபிடிக்கிறது தான் என்னோட ரிசர்ச். அப்போ அது எனக்கு வேணும்ன்றப்போ நான் ஒரு இண்டிவிஜுவலா இருக்கலாம், இல்லைன்னா ஒரு குரூப்பா இருக்கலாம். அதே போல எனக்கு அந்த ப்ராப்ளம் நான் வந்து அட்ரஸ் பண்ணி ஆகணும். அடுத்தது, ஓகே, எனக்கு அப்ஜெக்டிவ் இருக்கு, எனக்கு பிரச்சனை இருக்கு. அந்த பிரச்சனையை சால்வ் பண்றதுக்கு ஒரு வழி தான் இருக்க முடியும் அப்படின்னா அந்த ரிசர்ச் வந்து செல்லுபடியாகும். You cannot have only one way to do a research. If that is going to be the case, then that is not going to work. Okay, so there must be an alternative means. There must be an alternative means. That is, you need to have multiple options. You need to have multiple options when you are going to concentrate on the objective. So to get the objectives achieved, you must have see, generally when you are doing something, they'll say plan A, plan B. Plan A doesn't work out, plan B will work out. Plan B doesn't work out, plan C will work out. Why? Because you have an alternative means. Likewise, there should be alternative means here also. So what does this mean? It means there must be at least 2 means available, because if he has no choice of means, he cannot have a problem. That means எனக்கு இதுவே இல்லைனா இதுதான் ஒரே வழி. இப்போ இந்த பிரச்சனை இருக்குது, எனக்கு இந்த பிரச்சனைக்கு எனக்கு தீர்வே இல்லை அப்படின்னா I have to live with that problem, right? So you cannot say that is a problem. See, if I have to breathe, I have to breathe. I cannot find another way. If I find another way, then that is a solution. Okay, so that means there is an alternative means. So அதுதான் வந்து நம்மளுடைய third component. Fourth component என்ன அப்படின்னா, there should be some doubt. The researcher should raise some doubt. The researcherக்கு வந்து நிறைய கேள்விகள் வந்து எழணும். நான் வந்து என்ன ஆல்டர்னேட்டிவ் யூஸ் பண்ண போறேன், எனக்கு இப்போ வந்து ஒரு விஷயத்துக்கு எனக்கு 4 ஆப்ஷன் இருக்கு. அப்போ 4 ஆப்ஷன் எந்த ஆல்டர்னேட்டிவ் சூஸ் பண்ணா எனக்கு வந்து கேள்விக்குரிய ஆன்சர் கிடைக்கும் அப்படின்றது ஒரு ரிசர்ச்சருக்கு தெரியணும். அதனால அந்த ரிசர்ச்சருக்கு கொஞ்சம் டவுட் இருக்கணும். அந்த இது பண்ணா சரிப்பட்டு வருமா வராதா. The researcher should be able to decipher the differences in the available alternatives. If not, the researcher will get confused or will choose the wrong option. So he should have doubts, he should raise some questions, and then he must be able to answer the question relating to the efficiency of the alternatives. Okay, so there should be a doubt on the efficiency of the available alternatives. And the last one is there must be some environment. So if I have to perform particular research, then there should be a person or a group. Likewise, there should be an environment where I can perform the research. Okay, so that is, these are the 5 components. We are able to see individual or group should be there. We should have an objective, we should have alternative options, we should have doubt on the efficiency of the alternative, and then there should be an environment where you can perform. Okay, so these are all the components, because if the environment is going to keep changing, it will affect the efficiency. So the environment also plays a major role. Okay, for example, if you are going to do a research in a school with the children, the environment can be in the presence of a teacher or in the absence of a teacher. In the presence of a teacher, the child may give a different answer. In the absence of a teacher, the child may give a different answer. If you ask the child to write his or her details, the child may give a different answer. If you ask the child to not write his or her name, the child might give a genuine answer. Okay, so these are all the different ways in which The environment plays a role on the efficiency of the course of action. So these are all the components. The next one is sources. When you come to sources, there are three sources of the research problem. Okay, we're not talking about the research problem. There are three sources. So what are they abdina? When you have a research question, what you will do, you will have to start thinking what is going to happen. You will have to think about ideas. So all that has to be done. That is empirically testable research questions. So ideas should be converted to empirically testable. What is empirical? Empirical abdina something which can be visualized, or something which can be experienced, or something which can be experimented. Okay, so those things are only called as empirical. We saw this even in the second unit. Okay, so if you are able to convert an ideas into a visual format, or into an experience, or into an experiment, only then you will be able to come into ideas. Only then it is worth looking at where the ideas come from. Okay, so the common sources are informal observations, practical problems, and previous research. Informal observations, practical problems, and previous research. So we'll see one by one. So what is informal observation? So informal means we are directly looking at the behavior of people. Okay, or we are directly getting information from some sources like newspaper, books, blogs, and all. Okay, so informal means you are having a direct observation of what is your own and about others behavior. So you can say that if you are going to talk about something, you are going to talk about what is there in the local newspaper, what are the common suggestions, common ideas of the people. That is all the informal observations. So in newspaper there will be ideas of various people, which is not going to be in a very formal manner, but still that will give us a source. That is also a source of a research problem. So you keep reading through the newspaper, and you keep coming across the same problem being repeatedly coming into the and many articles coming in. So in that case, what you will think? You will think that this is the problem. Okay, so you will be able to find the newspaper as the source of the resource problem. That is what we are talking here. So one source of research problem is informal observations, and you can see that in psychology the most famous research in psychology are going to be run by informal observations, because as we observe people, we are able to understand their psychology, we are able to understand what they think, how they react and all. So with that we'll be able to find out. So நம்ம இதுல வந்து சைக்காலஜியை பொறுத்த வரைக்கும் நிறைய ரிசர்ச் ப்ராப்ளம்ஸ் இன்ஃபார்மலாக தான் இருக்கு. ஸோ இது என்ன அப்படின்னா, நம்ம வந்து இப்போ நியூஸ் பேப்பரில் ஒரு விஷயத்தை பார்க்குறோம், ஒரே பிரச்சனை திரும்ப திரும்ப நியூஸ் பேப்பர் போட்டுகிட்டே இருக்காங்க. நமக்கு என்ன தோணும், அப்போ இதுதான் வந்து பிரச்சனையோட வேறா இருக்குது, அதுதான் சோர்ஸ் அப்படிங்கிறது. சோர்ஸ்ன்றது அது ரூட் காஸ். அப்போது நான் எந்த இடத்துக்கிட்ட போகிறேன் அப்படின்னா, நான் ஒரு நியூஸ் பேப்பர் கிட்ட போகிறேன். நியூஸ் பேப்பர் இஸ் அன் இன்ஃபார்மல் சோர்ஸ் ஆஃப் அப்சர்வேஷன். ஓகே, ஸோ இது வந்து நமக்கு ஜேர்னலிசம் மூலமாக நமக்கு வந்து நிறைய நாட்டில் இருக்க நிறைய பிரச்சனைகளை வந்து மனுஷங்க அட்ரஸ் பண்ணது எதுலன்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா இந்த இன்ஃபார்மல் மூலமாக தான். அடுத்தது வந்து ப்ராக்டிக்கல் ப்ராப்ளம்ஸ். ப்ராக்டிக்கல் ப்ராப்ளம்ஸ்னால் என்னது? வாட் அ பர்சன் அண்டர்கோஸ். இப்போ வந்து ஒருத்தவங்க வந்து ஒரு பிரச்சனையில கடந்து போயிட்டு இருக்காங்க அப்படின்னா, அவங்களுக்கு வந்து அந்த பிரச்சனை விட்டு வெளியே வரணும் அப்படின்றப்போ they'll be able to analyze what they are going through, and they'll be able to think what is their objective and what are they aiming at. So with that they'll be able to think what they have to do in order to get out of the problem. Okay, so அது வந்து உங்களுக்கு வந்து இன்னொரு சோர்ஸா இருக்கு. ஸோ முதல்ல இன்ஃபார்மல் அப்சர்வேஷன், அடுத்து ப்ராக்டிக்கலாக அவங்க ஃபேஸ் பண்ணுறது. ஸோ இதில் நிறைய எக்ஸாம்பிள்ஸ் நம்ம கொடுத்துருக்காங்க. டஸ் டேக்கிங் அ லெக்சர் நோட். இப்போ வந்து நான் வந்து நோட்ஸ் எடுக்கிறேன். இப்போ நான் வந்து இப்போ உங்களுக்கு சொல்லிக் கொடுக்கும்போது இப்போ நம்ம டிஸ்கஸ் பண்ணும்போதே வி ஆர் லைக் டேக்கிங் நோட்ஸ், வி ஆர் மார்க்கிங், வி ஆர் ரைட்டிங். ஸோ வந்து தட் வில் இம்ப்ரூவ் த ஸ்டூடெண்ட் எக்ஸாம் பெர்ஃபார்மன்ஸா அப்படின்னு கேட்குறாங்க. எஸ் ஆர் நோ. லைக்வைஸ் if I'm going to do psychotherapy for a person with depression, okay, how is that going to be effective? Or do I need to give them drugs or medicines? Is that going to help a person with depression? Next வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, to what extent do cell phones impair people's driving ability? So I use cell phone, and how is that going to be connected to the driving ability? If I'm going to keep using mobile phones while I'm driving, it is surely going to affect my efficiency of driving. Okay, நான் வண்டி ஓட்டும் போது நான் இப்போ ஃபோன் நோண்டிட்டே வண்டி ஓட்டினேன் அப்படின்னா கண்டிப்பாக அதனோட டிரைவிங் எஃபிஷியன்சி எபிலிட்டியில் வந்து பிரச்சனையாக இருக்கும். அதே போல் வந்து எப்படி நம்ம வந்து while teach children நிறைய ரீட் பண்ண சொல்ல முடியும். ஸோ இந்த மாதிரி நிறைய எக்ஸாம்பிள்ஸ் கொடுத்துருக்காங்க. ஜஸ்ட் ரீட் த்ரூ த டெக்ஸ்ட் புக். ஓகே, நெக்ஸ்ட் வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா the most common inspiration என்ன இது அப்படின்னா, though we have informed observation and practical problems, ரொம்ப ரொம்ப வந்து நிறைய இன்ஸ்பயர் ஆகுறது என்ன அப்படின்னா வந்து ப்ரீவியஸ் ரிசர்ச். இதுக்கு முன்னாடி பண்ண ரிசர்ச் என்னன்றதை நம்ம எடுத்து அதுல we are going to build on it. Okay, so how different researchers read and evaluate, அவங்க evaluate பண்ண டெக்னிக்கை பார்த்து we are able to conduct new studies to build on it. Okay, so that is what is the third source, that is going to be previous research. Previous research is the third. Okay, so here you can see that through this we are able to get novice researchers, அதாவது நியூ வைஸ் ரிசர்ச்சர்ஸ், புது ரிசர்ச்சர்ஸ், புது ஆராய்ச்சியாளர்கள் வந்து அவங்க வந்து இதுக்கு முன்னாடி பண்ண ரிசர்ச்சை அவங்க வந்து கோ த்ரூ பண்ணும்போது they'll be able to understand and relate more easily. They'll be able to go through what is going on. Okay, so அதனால என்ன பண்ணலாம்னா இந்த மாதிரி நம்ம பார்க்கணும், ப்ராடாக ஒரு ஐடியா இருக்கும்போது we can narrow down our interest to a particular topic. நான் எதுக்கு போகிறேன், அதே போல் பர்டிகுலர் டொமைன். ஸோ யூ வில் ஹாவ் டு ஃபர்ஸ்ட் வந்து ஒரு டாபிக் குள்ளார நம்ம வரும், அதுக்கப்புறமேட்டு யூ வில் கெட் இன் டு அ பர்டிகுலர் டொமைன் அண்டர் தட் பர்டிகுலர் டாபிக். ஓகே, ஸோ இது மாதிரி பண்ணோன்னா it will be even more easy for us. Okay, so these are the sources of the research problem. Informal observations, அதுக்கப்புறமேட்டு practical problems, and then previous research. Okay, next வந்து criteria for a good research problem. ஒரு நல்ல ஒரு ரிசர்ச் ப்ராப்ளம் இருக்கு அப்படின்னா அதுக்கு அது மீட் பண்ண வேண்டிய கிரைட்டீரியா என்னலாம். ஸோ ரிசர்ச் ப்ராப்ளம் நான் வந்து நல்லா இருக்கு அப்படின்னு நான் சொல்லணும் அப்படின்னா அது என்னலாம் அப்படின்னா அது சிஸ்டமேட்டிக்காக இருக்கணும். ஓகே, நான் வந்து எப்படி நான் அந்த அந்த ப்ராப்ளம் ஐடென்டிஃபை பண்ணியிருக்கேன் அப்படிங்கிறதுக்கு ஒரு சிஸ்டமேட்டிக்காக இருக்கணும், லாஜிக்கலாக இருக்கணும், எம்பிரிக்கலாக இருக்கணும். எம்பிரிக்கல்னா நான் சொன்ன மாதிரி அது விஷுவலாக இருக்கலாம், இல்லை எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸ்டாக இருக்கலாம், இல்லை எக்ஸ்பெரிமெண்டலாக இருக்கலாம். அப்படின்றது ரெப்ளிகபிள், இதை வச்சு இன்னொருத்தவங்களால பண்ண முடிகிற ஒரு விஷயமா இருக்கும். நெக்ஸ்ட், the problem must be clearly defined. Yes, that is very very important. If you can't define a problem, no use at all, and you should be able to provide a solution. What a tentative solution is a must for your research. Okay, research பண்றோம் அப்படின்னா எனக்கு இப்போ வந்து ஒரு tentative assumption-ஆ நம்ம ஃபர்ஸ்ட் சாப்டர்லயே பார்த்துருப்போம், ஹைபாத்தசிஸ் அப்படின்னு ஒரு வேர்டு பார்த்துருப்போம். ஸோ டென்டேட்டிவா ஐ ஷுட் பி ஏபிள் டு அஸ்யூம், இஃப் நாட் இட் இஸ் கோயிங் டு பி அ ஃபெயிலியர். ஸோ அப்ஜெக்டிவ், கண்டிப்பாக இதுக்கு அப்ஜெக்டிவ் இருக்கணும், அண்ட் இட் ஷுட் பி வெரிஃபைட். Okay, so a good research question forms the backbone of a good research. So நல்ல ஒரு ரிசர்ச் இருக்கு அப்படின்னா ஃபர்ஸ்ட் நம்ம கேட்குறோம் ஒரு கேள்வி, இந்த பிரச்சனை வருது, ஏன் இந்த பிரச்சனை வருதுன்ட்டு, அதுதான் அந்த ரிசர்ச் கொஸ்டின். ஓகே, ஸோ அ குட் ரிசர்ச் கொஸ்டின் தான் என்ன பண்ணும் அப்படின்னா நமக்கு பேக்போனா இருக்கு. ஏன்னா இட் வில் அன்ராவல் த மிஸ்ட்ரீஸ் ஆஃப் நேச்சர். ஸோ ஆல்ரெடி ஒன்று இருக்குது அப்படின்னா நேச்சுரலாக நடந்துட்டு இருக்கு அப்படின்னா அதுல நமக்கு புரியாம இருக்கிற சில காரியங்கள்ல இது வந்து நமக்கு வெளிப்படுத்தக்கூடியதா இருக்கும். அதே போல வந்து எக்ஸிஸ்டிங் அன்சர்டனிட்டியை வந்து நமக்கு செக் பண்றதுக்கு யூஸ்ஃபுல்லா இருக்கும். அண்ட் ரிசர்ச் கொஸ்டின் வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா அது நல்லா இல்லை அப்படின்னா நம்மளுடைய ரிசர்ச் ப்ராசஸே வந்து நமக்கு அடி வாங்கிடும். ஓகேவா, ஸோ தட் இஸ் வெரி இம்பார்ட்டன்ட். எங்கன்னா ஃபீல்ட் ஆஃப் சோஷியல் அண்ட் ஹெல்த் ரிசர்ச். ஸோ இந்த இதுல வந்து ரிசர்ச் கொஸ்டின் பிளேஸ் அ வெரி வைட்டல் ரோல். ஓகே, ஸோ இதுதான் வந்து உங்களுக்கு இந்த இதில் உங்களுக்கு மெயினாக கொடுத்துருக்கிறது இவ்வளோ தான். மற்றபடி ரிசர்ச் வந்து எப்படி கிளாஸிஃபை இருக்கலாம் அப்படின்னா ரிசர்ச்சோட கிளாசிஃபிகேஷன்ஸ், திஸ் இஸ் கோயிங் டு பி த கிளாசிஃபிகேஷன் ஆஃப் ரிசர்ச். ஓகே, கிளாசிஃபிகேஷன் ஆஃப் ரிசர்ச் அதெல்லாம் என்ன அப்படின்னா ஆக்ஷன் ரிசர்ச், அப்ளைட் ரிசர்ச், பேசிக் ரிசர்ச், கிளினிக்கல், எம்பிரிக்கல், அட்மினிஸ்ட்ரேட்டிவ், தியரட்டிக்கல், குவாலிட்டேட்டிவ், குவான்டிடேட்டிவ். ஸோ இது எல்லாமே இருக்குது. ஆக்ஷனா ரிப்பீட்டடாக ஒன்று பண்ண அது ரிஃபைன் ஆகிட்டே போயிட்டு. அப்ளைட்னா இந்த ஒரு பர்டிகுலர் கான்செப்டை ஒரு இடத்துல போய் நான் அப்ளை பண்ணுறது. பேசிக்னா அந்த பேசிக்காக நமக்கு வந்து ஒரு இது இருக்குது, அந்த இதில் போய் பண்ணுறது. கிளினிக்கல்னா when you perform it on a patient. எம்பிரிக்கல் வித் எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸ் அண்ட் எக்ஸ்பெரிமெண்டேஷன், அட்மினிஸ்ட்ரேட்டிவ் லெவலில் பண்ணுறது. தியரட்டிக்கல்னா we don't do any calculations or anything, but then we try to just analyze the previous researchers எல்லாத்தையும் வச்சு நம்ம பண்ணுறது. ஓகே, and qualitative, quantitative we've already have explained in detail in the first two videos. Next, இப்போ இவ்வளோ நேரம் என்ன சொன்ன, ரிசர்ச் கொஸ்டின் எனக்கு தேவைணும். அப்போ we should be able to define a problem. So what do you do to define a problem? இந்த இதில் வந்து we have 5 techniques involved. Okay, we have 5 techniques involved in defining a problem. இப்போ if I have a question, okay, if I have a question like how to define அப்படின்னா எனக்கு வந்து நம்ம அதுக்குள்ள என்னென்ன கான்செப்ட்லாம் கொண்டு வரணும். Okay, all that should be there. So defining a research problem என்னது, it's a crucial part of a research study. If you are not able to define a research problem, then there is no use at all. Okay, there's no use in performing the research itself. So for the technique, the first the total 5 is there. The statement of the problem, I need to know the statement. I need to understand the nature. I should be able to survey the available literature. Previous researches, the informal materials எல்லாமே இருக்குல்ல, all that should be surveyed. And then you must develop, you must have discussions, and through that you should develop ideas. And then whatever you get, all those data should be rephrased into the research problem. Okay, so this is all the 5. So ஒன்னொன்னையும் வந்து we'll see in detail. What is statement of the problem? So statement of the problem, first வந்து we'll have a broad view. We'll have a very vague idea about the problem. So that is the first statement மாதிரி நம்ம rough we can have it. So after that we need to do certain activities to narrow it down. Broad இருக்கிற research problem I will have to narrow it down so myself and the other people can understand. So what do we do for this? For this we have to do some kind of field observation. Field observation means you directly go to that place where this thing is happening and find out what is wrong there. And this process of doing this field observation, this is called preliminary survey or pilot survey. You try to go and collect some details. You can't collect the entire people, but you just select few of them, and then you are going to do, so that all that how we select, all that will be seeing in sampling, which will be there in the 5th unit. Okay, so the next one is, so after we do all this we will be able to narrow it down, and we can use, see, once you are going to narrow it down, you will be using the, or you'll be stating the problem in operational terms. Operational terms in the sense, or you can call it as operational definition, wherein you will be defining the problem in your own way. You are not going to take the help of any other records or books or internet. You will be defining it in your own words, that is using this operational terms. Okay, so in that case we'll be able to find out what is happening. So when you have a problem, in general there will be lot of ambiguities, okay, that has to be resolved. You cannot have it in a broad manner. That is why we are still working on it. Okay, and then we are getting the feasibility of a particular solution. Okay, so in the solution how it is feasible, இந்த solution கிடைக்கணும்னா அது எந்த அளவுக்கு எனக்கு வந்து சரியா நேர்த்தியானதா இருக்கணும் அப்படின்றத நான் பார்க்கணும். Next, understanding the nature of the problem. So how do you understand the problem? You will have to discuss it. Okay, யார்கிட்ட இந்த பிரச்சனை புரிஞ்சு, sometimes you would have had some outing, and there you see some people wherein they say they have a problem and you're taking that problem. It means that it is their problem. It was not your idea, it was their problem which you are working on. Okay, in that case you have to discuss it with those who first raised it. It is not us, it is the people who are already facing. So you'll have to discuss with them and find out what they are going through. Okay, so in that case only we'll be able to get the answer. So the researcher has stated the problem himself. For example, nobody is helping me or nobody is giving me an idea, but I work on it myself. Then the person should think what induced him to make a general statement. What made him think about that? So that is what he or she has to think. Okay, so in that case, when all these discussions are being done, okay, we can also have discussion with people who have good knowledge about this. So they might be your own professors or some elderly people who know or who have a good idea about it. Okay, and as usual, as I told you, the environment has to be considered because the environment plays a major role. The next one is surveying the available literature. So you have a lot of literature. Okay, if when you go to the internet or many things, we'll also see how to go into it. So there you can see that there are many available literature, so for which we will have to work on. So it means that the researcher must be well conversant. Well conversant means the researcher must be able to converse with his relate with the relevant theories. He should be able to relate it. Only then he would be able to explain. So whatever theories are there, whatever reports he has come across, whatever records he had come across, so all these have to be checked. Okay, so all these are how we are going to get the available literature and all. Okay, then what else is seen here is that we'll be able to say there are some gaps. So when you are doing all this, you'll be able to, there are some gaps. Sometimes you'll be able to see that the existing theories to the problem, okay, that is existing theories are inconsistent with each other. Every time it should not be proper, right? There will be some mismatch here and there. So if they are going to be inconsistent, in that case also you will have to check with the pattern and all. So all these are going to be an important thing. Or sometimes the findings of the other studies, they might not follow a particular pattern. Okay, they might not follow a particular pattern. All these have to be considered. The next one is developing the ideas through discussions. What I told you, so I told you like discussions have to be made. So discussion பண்ணணும், யார் கூட discuss பண்ணணும், should discuss his problem with his problem with his colleagues and those who have enough experience. So அந்த மாதிரிப்பட்ட people கிட்ட போய் நம்ம பண்ணணும். So இதுக்கு பேர் தான், okay, discussion with problem, discussion of his problem with colleagues and people who have experience is called experience survey. Okay, so this is called the experience survey. Okay, so here you can see that people who have rich experience, they'll be able to enlighten the upcoming researchers and make them understand of what is going on. Okay, so when all this is being done, the experience survey is being done, the researcher is able to sharpen his focus. Okay, he's able to sharpen his focus of attention on the specific aspects within the field. Okay, so with that he'll be able to understand what is actually going on. So after this, you can see that through this, from a specific you are going to general, from broad you were able to go to narrow, right? That is what even here we are seeing, specific to general. So next one is rephrasing the research problem. Now I have got the research problem. So I will have to find out, I will have to work on it and rephrase it into a working proposition, something which would be understood by everybody. Okay, so this is what. So when we have the nature of the problem, then we can see how we have to define and how we have to discuss, and all such things could be done. Okay, so now what are the things which we have to be observed while defining a research problem? Okay, while defining a research problem, what do we need to do? We'll have to think about 5 things. Okay, 5 points should be observed. The technical terms, okay, should be used. The technical terms should be used in the statement of the problem. Likewise, the basic assumptions, like I assume that everything is normal here, then that should be clearly stated, so that only then you can say that no, her assumption is wrong, my assumption is wrong. Okay, and a straightforward statement should be there, else it will be like beating around the bush and people will not be able to understand. The next one is sustainability of the time period. So how far the sources of data will be available and how far it will be reliable. And last but not the least, it is scope of the investigation. So in investigation எதுக்காக பண்ண போறேன். So first நான் technical terms use பண்ணணும், basic assumptions கண்டிப்பா வந்து it should be stated and ஒரு straightforward statement இருக்கணும். And the suitability of time period, that I should be careful with that, and then the scope of the investigation should also be taken into account. The next is reviewing the research literature. Reviewing na என்னது, இப்போ எனக்கு வந்து previous publications எல்லாம் இருக்குது, அதை வந்து நான் போய் பார்க்கணும் அப்படின்னா, that is called reviewing. Reviewing. I'm seeing something, I'm going back to that particular thing, and then I'm again and again I'm checking it. That is review. That is review, and this is the most important thing in the research process. Okay, so what we have is we are finding, reading and summarizing. Okay, whatever is already there. We will have to find what is there, we will have to read what is given, and then we will have to summarize. Now, what are the other things which you can get? So it can tell you if it is already answered, okay, or evaluate the interestingness of a research question. Next வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா, it can give ideas, or it can tell how the study fits into the research literature, how the study will fit into the research literature. Okay, so now, so what is this research literature? So research literature அப்படின்றது என்ன அப்படின்னா, it is like what is available, published research. ஸோ எனக்கு வந்து இந்த டாப்பிக்ல என்னென்னலாம் அவைலபிள் அப்படின்னு பார்த்தேன் அப்படின்னா, there are going to be millions of scholarly articles and books which is going to be there relating to the particular field. Okay, so that is what we are able to see here. And there are certain sources which are considered reliable, unreliable even under this research. So what are those unreliable sources? Unreliable sources are going to be, that is what they have given here. Research literature definitely does not include self-help and other pop psychology books, dictionary and encyclopedia, websites. So all these things cannot be there. Why? Because they are not, all these are not reviewed by other researchers. They are just written, and some editor in that particular magazine or that particular thing, they will upload it. They will not check for the genuinity and all. Okay, the same thing happens even to Wikipedia. We all trust more on Wikipedia, but does Wikipedia give the proper information? No, because Wikipedia is anonymously written. Any one of us can go and change the data there. Okay, so Wikipedia again is not going to help people there. Okay, so that is also going to be an unreliable thing. Okay, now if everything is unreliable, what is reliable அப்படின்னா, there are two things. One is the articles in professional journals and scholarly books. Okay, so here under research literature, what are we going to see here? We are going to see two sources, that is going to be professional journals, professional journals and review articles. Okay, review articles. So all that is what we are going to see. So what is the professional journals? So professional journals, when you say, it is again going to be of two types. Two types. So what are the two types? One is going to be empirical research report. Empirical research report, and the another one is going to be review articles. So what are professional journals? They might be released monthly once or quarterly or half yearly and all those things. Okay, so all those things will have thousands of research into their books, and then these issues are organized to volumes. So wherein you have all the issues of a calendar year. So some will be in hard copy, okay. Some will be in both hard copy and e-copy, or some will be only in the e-copy. Okay, that is what we are seeing here. So now these are the two types: empirical research reports and review articles. I told you that. So what is empirical? You are going to discuss about one or more new empirical studies. I told you, right, through experimentation or experience or what is available. Okay, so in that case, you will be able to go through the empirical research reports. Okay, so they'll introduce a research question, they'll tell you, ask you like why it's interesting and how the previous research has to be done. And the review articles is just going through the previous research reviews and the research papers, and we are collecting the outputs which are already given. Okay, and review articles are also called as theoretical article. Okay, review articles are also called as theoretical articles. These are mainly to organize or explain the results. So how the previous papers they have done. So other one I'll have to organize, and then I'll have to explain these results. Okay. So now when you are going to do a literature review, what all you have to be careful. So we will have to be careful of a few things. So that is, they are giving it as four basic things. Four basic things. So they are going to be refining the research question, identifying the appropriate methods, and to place your research in the context of previous research. So I'll have to refine my research question. I'll have to identify the research methods. Okay, and then we have to write and then we have to check for the previous research. Okay, and then by this way we'll be able to find out. The first one is you'll have to focus on recent research. So what do you mean by the word recent? Recent, okay, recent, if it is going to be a very new topic, okay, published, you'll have it to be in a year or two. For older topics it will be the past 10 years. Okay, so if you're going somewhere to some library and then if you want to find out, you can very easily check for this. If you're going to go through a new topic, you'll have to go only for the last 2 years. Okay, and for the topics it is going to be 10 or sometimes even 15 or 5 or whichever you may take. Okay, but this rule would be to classic articles, okay, that might go to a reference. See, if you're going to look into a paper, if you're going to look into a paper, it will have a lot of reference. Okay, so from that reference you can take even more articles based on that particular concept itself. So that is what is being explained next. So second, you should look for review on your particular topic. Okay, so on your particular topic only you will be having to review, and then you have to look for what? Empirical research reports. Empirical research reports. Okay, so all this will be done, and then how extensively your topic has been done. Okay, and then there is a big question like how many research reviews have to be done. At least 50 has to be done when it comes to the number of sources. For the literature review, then I'm telling you that there should be at least 50 articles. Okay, there should be at least 50 articles, 50 research, 50 reviews for one particular article. The next one is going to be scholarly books. So what are scholarly books? They are who write these? They are written by, see, you have few words here, you have to be very careful. So one is these scholarly books. Scholarly books are written by researchers. Okay, researchers and practitioners, those who are practicing. Next, monograph. So monograph என்றது ஒரு single author or a small group of authors. So they gave a topic, like they all work on a topic which is going to be slightly coherent. Okay, the next one is edited volumes. Okay, so what do you mean by edited volume? It means that you have an editor, you have an editor who will recruit authors. Edited volume is something little more bigger, so you will have an editor who will include many more authors in order to achieve the task. Okay, so we'll have to go through a different perspective. Okay, even for the authors to openly disagree, so you cannot go and tell them that you cannot disagree for what we are telling. That openness should be there with us also. And when you have a scholarly book, it will go through a peer reviewed process. Only then we'll be able to know if it is going to be selected or not. Then the next and the last topic in this lesson is going to be literature search strategies. So I need to search. So we have a lot of things on the internet. But for our psychology, there is something exclusively which was produced by the American Psychological Association, APA. Okay, so these people only gave this psych info. It is something similar to the previous things, and that is going to be, if you're going to use psych info and then if you're going to work on it, that will surely be accepted. Okay, that will surely be accepted. So psych info is going to be like people or children who like want something immediately, they will do here. Okay, so that is your and when you are going to go through a record, when you're going to go through a record, you will be able to see that there will be a lot of keywords. There will be a big list of keywords, so which will explain why this and why not something else. Okay, so these are all with respect to psych info. So when you see the psych info, it's nothing but it also includes a thesaurus, so with which we can find out, or you can type and then you can find out what is not available and not. Okay, so with this, if you don't want to, you can go to the library, You can go to the places where you have the library shelves, and we can check if what we need is available or not. Okay, now what are the other search techniques? We have humpty number of other search techniques. Okay, so we are able to see that whatever is done recently, we consider it to be the best. Okay, so through that we'll have a reference list, and here you can say that uh, the more you use, okay, the more you use the general internet search, the more you use the general internet search with a particular search item, then it will become even more familiar and it will get popped up. Likewise, the search engine is going to be Google Scholar. So instead of Google Scholar, whatever you do, it might go wrong. If not, you tell your friends how to do. Next is going to be you can talk to people. Okay, so when you are going to interact, when you're going to understand, then it will be easy for you to put it in pen and paper, which is going to be qualitative research. Okay, so this is all regarding this unit 3. Okay, unit 3 is being done now. So after unit 3, we'll have the next unit 4, which will be block 2. So we have completed the block 1 successfully. 3 units are being done. Okay, so just go through the questions. They may hardly ask you few questions from here. It is going to be easy for you. Okay, so with this I think we'll wind up. We'll see you again in the next video with the next chapter. Thank you everyone.